Commanders fam, what happened against Dallas was a straight-up reality check that blew up in our faces. Our brain at the center of the line just went down right before we faced Philly, and if anything happens to our rookie quarterback behind, that patched-up O-line, this season turns into a full-blown nightmare. But that's not even the worst part. One of our defenders gave up 86 yards on a 3rd and 11, and Quinn benched him after just 28 snaps. Message received. No more second chances. And while all that chaos was unfolding, a veteran hit the top 10 all-time in sacks and nobody even noticed. Final season? Farewell tour? Stick around, because this could shape our entire future. Commanders fans, we need to talk about something bigger than just this loss. We need to talk about Tyler Biadasz and what his injury means for the immediate future of this team. Because when I saw Biadasz limping off the field, clutching his knee, pain written all over his face, I'm telling you, every single O-line nightmare we've lived through came rushing back. Biadasz isn't just another guy on the line. He's the brain of the whole unit. He makes the protection calls. He spots the blitzes before they even happen. He's the one giving Jaden Daniels that extra split second to work his magic. And now, after that Dallas game, we're talking knee and ankle injuries. Both. Walking boot. Imaging pending. And Dan Quinn dropping the words no fan wants to hear. We're hoping it's just sprains. Hoping. That word kills me. Because in the NFL, when a coach says we're hoping, it usually means it's worse than they're letting on. Let me break this down for you. Biadasz came over from Dallas after a Pro Bowl season. We brought him in specifically to stabilize the middle of that offensive line, to give our rookie quarterback the protection he needs. And for most of the season, he's delivered. He's been that rock in the middle that let us dream bigger, but the moment Nick Allegretti stepped in during the second quarter, everything changed. Communication issues popped up instantly. The timing was shot. And let me ask you, did you see how Dallas started bringing pressure differently after that injury? Did you see how Prescott had all day while we were scrambling just to keep the pocket from collapsing? I believe this injury exposes something Adam Peters and Dan Quinn are going to have to face this offseason. Our O-line depth is still a major issue. Because if Biadasz misses significant time, and with Sam Cosmi already out, we're talking about a completely reshuffled line trying to protect the future of this franchise. And here's what really worries me. We've got one more game this season against the Eagles in Philly, a team with one of the nastiest D-lines in the league. Yalen Carter, Fletcher Cox, Hassan Reddick. Those dudes are going to feast on a makeshift offensive line. So let me ask you this. Is it even worth putting Jaden Daniels out there for that game? With a banged-up line? In a matchup that means nothing for the playoffs. Because if something happens to Daniels because we threw out a second or third string line against that Philly front, this promising season could turn into a nightmare that drags into 2026. Here's the truth. Biadasz has been one of Adam Peters' best free agency moves. But the NFL doesn't care. Injuries don't care about contracts or expectations. And now we're stuck hoping those scans show minor sprains and not something structural that keeps him out for months. Because let me tell you something about centers in the NFL. You can't just plug anyone in. The chemistry between a center and a quarterback takes time. Protection calls, snap timing, reading complex defenses, that's built over months of reps and games. If Biadasz misses real time, we're not just replacing a player. We're rebuilding the entire rhythm of that offensive line. And doing that in the offseason with a second-year quarterback who needs stability is a recipe for disaster. I'm telling you right now, Tyler Biadasz's health is just as important to this team's future as any draft pick we make in April. You can have all the edge rushers and safeties in the world, but if your rookie QB is running for his life every snap, none of that matters. And if that's got you worried, wait until you hear what Dan Quinn just did with one of our defenders. Because this move felt like a final goodbye. And speaking of nightmares, we need to talk about what happened with Quan Martin on Christmas Day, because what I saw wasn't just a bad game. It was the end of the road for him in Washington. And Dan Quinn's message was loud and clear. No more chances. Let me lay it out. Martin came into this season with sky-high expectations. Quinn hyped him up in the offseason. He was supposed to be a key piece in the secondary. After rehabbing both shoulders, this was supposed to be his breakout year. His moment to prove he was a smart draft pick. Instead, Martin has become the 86th ranked safety out of 100, according to PFF. Let me say that again. 86 out of 100. That's not just bad. That's historically awful for someone getting real snaps. But the stats get even uglier. Martin is giving up 19.4 yards per reception. That's the highest among all safeties in the league. And he's missed 15 tackles more than any other year in his career. 15 times this season, he had a shot to make a stop and just whiffed. Now, you want to know the moment that sealed his fate? 3rd and 11. Cowboys backed up at their own 3-yard line. We had just made a huge defensive stop. Momentum was swinging our way. Then Kevin Turpin catches the ball. Martin's completely flat in what looked like an inverted Tampa 2. And 86 yards later, the Cowboys are dancing in the end zone, 86 yards, on 3rd and 11. From the 3-yard line, I'm telling you right now, that was the most inexcusable play I've seen from a Commander's safety in years. And we've seen some bad ones, but this was different. It wasn't about speed. It wasn't about getting beat physically. It was about being totally out of position, no urgency, no awareness. And what happened after that touchdown? Martin played just 28 snaps the rest of the game. 28, after averaging nearly 60 the past 2 weeks. That's Dan Quinn's silent message. I can't trust you in big moments anymore. So, how did we get here? How did a guy who had so much hype become unplayable? Because that's the word, unplayable. Martin can't be on the field in key situations. He can't be trusted in deep coverage. He can't tackle in space. And the problem goes beyond just Martin. Our safety room is a complete mess. Will Harris has been okay when healthy, but that's it. Jeremy Reeves has 14 missed tackles. Percy Butler doesn't even play defense anymore, just special teams. And Darnell Savage, who was better than all of them, asked to be released in early December. Let me tell you something about that Savage move. When a player would rather be cut than keep playing for your team, that says everything about your position group. Savage saw the writing on the wall and said, "Nah, I'm out." And now we're stuck with one of the worst safety rooms in the league. In a year where our defense was supposed to take the next step. In a year where Dan Quinn, a defensive mastermind, was supposed to elevate the talent we had. I believe this is what's coming in the offseason. Adam Peters is going to make safety a top priority. Whether it's through the draft or free agency, expect major changes. Because you can't compete in the NFC East with this kind of secondary. You're not beating the Eagles, Cowboys, or Giants when your deep coverage is Swiss cheese. And here's what really stings. Martin had every chance. Quinn believed in him, gave him snaps, gave him public support, and Martin just couldn't deliver. It wasn't about opportunity. It was about execution, awareness, and honestly, ability. Now, does that mean Martin can't have a career in the NFL? Not necessarily. Maybe a change of scenery helps. Maybe another system can hide his flaws and highlight his strengths. But with the Commanders, after that 86-yard touchdown and those final 28 snaps, his time is up. And that's something Quinn has shown he's willing to do. Cut ties when a player isn't getting it done. Doesn't matter how much was invested. Doesn't matter how much hype there was. If you can't execute, you're not playing. Period. But here's the wild part. While all this was going down, one of our vets hit a historic milestone and barely anyone noticed. In the middle of all this chaos, all this frustration, all this pain from another tough loss, Von Miller did something that deserves to be celebrated. Something that, in any other week, would have been the headline story. Von Miller became the 10th player in NFL history to reach the top 10 in career sacks since the stats started being tracked in 1980-2. With his sack on Dak Prescott, Miller reached 137.5 career sacks, tying Richard Dent and John Randall, 2 Hall of Famers, 2 absolute legends. And now Von Miller is right there with them in the record books. But here's the cruel irony. That historic moment got completely overshadowed by the loss, by the injuries, by a brutal penalty on Frankie Louvu during the same play. That wiped out part of the sack's impact. I'm telling you, Von Miller deserves better. A player of his caliber, with his legacy, hitting a milestone like that should be celebrating in a winning locker room. He should be gearing up for the playoffs. He should be using that momentum for one last deep postseason run. Instead, he's on a team that just got knocked out of playoff contention, in a locker room dealing with major injuries, on a defense that gave up 211 rushing yards, and went 0 for 6 on 4th down stop. Let me give you some context on what it means to be in that top 10. We're talking about decades of elite players, generations of dominant pass rushers. And Von Miller, at 36 years old, in what might be his final NFL season, reached that level because, let's be real, nobody knows if Miller's coming back next year. He signed a 1-year deal with us for $6.1 million. He's been productive 8 sacks this season. But at his age, every year is a question mark. And that makes this moment even more special. Because if this is his final season, if this was his last home game, then that sack on Prescott was his way of reminding us who he is. Reminding us that even in a lost season, even on a team not going to the playoffs, he's still Von Miller. So, now I ask you, what does a guy like Miller do in the offseason? Come back for one more year? Look for a contender? Or decide it's time to hang up the cleats and head to Canton? I believe Miller's got at least one more season in him. I think he can still produce. I think he can still mentor young guys. But I also think he deserves to be on a team that's chasing something real. And that's the question Adam Peters has to answer. Do we bring Miller back? Or do we let him chase one last ring somewhere else? Because here's the truth. Miller has been a pro through and through with us. No complaints. No finger pointing. He's shown up, done the work, produced when called on, and been exactly what we hoped for when we signed him. But the NFL is a business. And 36-year-old players, no matter their legacy, have to prove their value every season. Miller's done that this year. 8 sacks, 2 tackles, and a QB hit against Dallas. He's been disruptive when he's on the field. The question is whether that's enough to earn another deal. And whether Miller wants to be part of another rebuilding year or chase one last shot at a 3rd Super Bowl ring. Because let's be brutally honest, the Commanders aren't 1 year away from contending. We're building something. We've got a promising young quarterback. We've got some intriguing pieces. But we're not Dallas. We're not Philly. We're not San Francisco. And for a player at the end of his career, that matters. Every season counts. Every shot at a title is precious. And Miller already has 2 rings. He's already in the top 10 all-time in sacks. His Hall of Fame ticket is punched out. So what drives him to come back? Love of the game? Desire to mentor? Or that hunger to add one more ring before walking away? I'm telling you this. No matter what Miller decides, he's earned our respect and gratitude. He came here when we didn't have much to offer. He produced. He stayed professional. And he hit a historic milestone wearing burgundy and gold. That means something, especially in a season where we've had so little to celebrate. So there you have it, Commanders fans. 3 stories that perfectly sum up where we are as a team right now. A critical injury that threatens our future. A safety who just played his last meaningful snap for us. And a legendary vet reaching greatness. In the middle of the storm, Now I want to hear from you. Do you think BIDs will be ready for training camp? Should we go after Caleb Downs in the draft or target a veteran safety in free agency? And what do we do with Von Miller? Bring him back or let him chase one last ring? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I need to know what the nation is thinking. Are you as frustrated as I am with this safety room? As worried as I am about the O-line? Do you still believe we've got the pieces to compete next year? Because this season taught us something important. Jaden Daniels is special. But a special quarterback isn't enough if we don't surround him with the right pieces, if we don't protect him, if we don't give him a defense that can get stops when it matters. Adam Peters has work to do this all season. Dan Quinn has tough calls to make. And we, as fans, have to decide if we're going to be patient with this rebuild or demand results now. I know where I stand. I believe in Peters. I believe in Quinn. I believe in Daniels. But I also believe we need to be real about our weaknesses. And this week exposed all of them. If you like this content, if you want more deep, honest breakdowns about this team, about our franchise, I need you to subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications. Because we'll be here every day, breaking down every move, every decision, every play that shapes the future of the Commanders. This is more than a YouTube channel. This is a community, a family of fans who bleed burgundy and gold, who suffer together in the losses, who celebrate together in the wins, and who, no matter what, always believe in this team. So join us. Be part of this family. Because next year is going to be huge. And we'll be here, step by step, building towards something special. And remember, hail to the Redskins.